Hey, so how's it going? Today, I want to talk about a habit that was so hard for me to kick, and it was called music school. I want to talk about how it took me 3 times to quit music school. Let me unpack this real quick, and it's going to speak to how I was so programmed to pursue a path that God obviously did not want me to pursue. So I'm from a smaller little city, a little town in South Mississippi called Diamond Head, Mississippi. I went to a small high school called Hancock High. It's actually the same high school that Brett Favre graduated from. Shout out, go Hawks! And I have always played the drums. I started band in 8th grade, played drums all through high school, and made a little name for myself in my little small circle as being like the hotshot drummer, right? Um, so in like 11th grade, I made first chair in the all-state band in Mississippi, and then in my senior year, I placed third chair in the Mississippi Lions band. And for me, that was a huge accomplishment because where I'm from, there wasn't a such thing as like a drum teacher or like private lessons, or some high schools had like drum instructors on staff. Dude, we had none of that stuff. So for me to be able to show up at the state level at all as a high schooler from this little place in Mississippi on the drums was a huge deal. So obviously, the good people in my life that saw that I had some type of talent pushed me to pursue music. And I didn't have anything else going on, so why not pursue music? I loved it. And so I showed up to the University of Southern Mississippi on a scholarship playing the drums. And I came in with these high hopes and expectations. I thought I was going to be Nick Cannon off that movie Drumline, the freshman coming in. And I got my face beat in. I was the most prepared freshman coming into this place imaginable. I actually got worse the longer I was in college. I showed up and the way I was playing, it was really good. I remember playing some of the licks my first couple weeks at band camp and with the first chair guy, the big senior hotshot dude. And I played well with them. All my stuff was right there. I was a snare drum player. And the longer I was in college, the worse I got because my mind, I was struggling with the pressure. I was struggling with, I was told I needed to change every way that I had already gotten really used to approaching playing, drums. And I was battling a severe drug and alcohol addiction. So I went to school for a year. After that first year, I just crashed and burned. And that summer, I quit music college. That was the first time. And I went to rehab. I really needed to go to rehab. So I went to rehab. I went to rehab for 30 days. I went to a 30-day place, and then I stayed in a halfway house for 8 months. So 9 months total. And I got clean and sober, and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to go back to music school. I'm like, all right, what else am I supposed to do? So I went back to music school, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the best drummer and percussionist, the best student now that my mind is clear and I'm not on drugs anymore. And so I show up clean and sober, starting my spiritual journey. And guess what? I still hated music school. I got back in and I was just like, it still felt like I was crushing this, square peg into this round hole. And I did it sober. And so I'm back to music school and I'm not on drugs anymore. I'm still a dang mess, like for real. But so much better than I was before. And I got to a very similar place where I was like, man, it's not the drugs' fault. It's not the alcohol's fault. It's not my addiction. I just am unhappy here. So I quit music school the second time. Maybe I should have caught there's a pattern. So I quit again. And my good friend Ben Shea, he was starting to go on tour with this band, and I told him, man, whenever you're ready to go on tour for real, call me up because I'm your drummer. So Dark Nights of Camelot, one of the coolest seasons of my life. I was a rock star in my own mind for about a year and a half, 2 years. So we actually did pretty well for ourselves in Mississippi. We got on this little startup record label, and we toured and traveled. Actually came through New York a couple times before I moved up here. It was actually my first time in New York, was with this band, and lots of crazy stories about that. And so for about a year and a half, we traveled and toured and made music, and didn't make any money, but made some amazing memories. And I fell back in love with music. I love playing the drums. I love Dark Nights of Camelot. I love creating. I love just the whole thing. It probably wasn't the most spiritually healthy place, but as a creative and as an artist, I loved it. And then really started realizing that I'm in this for the wrong reasons. Whole other story. The God thing really started coming back in my life, and it was really hard to live a moral life in the music scene. And so I'm sure other people did it. I really struggled with it. In the church we call it I backslid, so I had to leave the music scene for my soul. And the whole time I'm clean and sober, which is a cool, real story. I never thought. I was 2 years clean and sober, and I'm traveling and making music and living my dream. So when I started turning to God, my life didn't end. It actually just started. So there's a shout out to Living for the Lord. And Living for the Lord, that sounds so religious, but it's what it is. So I have this deep conviction to come back to a more spiritual life, and I had to leave the circumstances, the music industry I was in. And so what do? I moved states, so I left Mississippi and I moved to Nashville. This was in 2009, and I didn't know what else to do because it only had one lane that I felt like I was allowed to run in. So I went back to music school. This is the third time. And so now I'm in my mid-20s. I'm like 22. I'm sorry, 22, 23. I'm really enjoying my time into the church, and I started playing Christian music at that time, gospel and Christian contemporary. But I'm back in music school, and not only am I not on drugs, not only am I not drinking and partying every day, and not only am I living this empty life away from God, I've got God in my life now. I've got purpose. I'm getting healthy, and I figure, all right, so I'm healthy, my head's on straight, I'm back in music school, now it's gotta work, right? Wrong. I am super miserable again back in music school. So I'm at, and I'm not at USM anymore, I'm at MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University, with this professor. His dude name's Lalo Davia, and this is an amazing guy. And one day I'm in there playing my 4 mallets, slogging through this exercise, miserable, and he just stops the practice. He's like, dude, there are guys so much younger than you with half your talent, and they're kicking your butt all over the place. And it's not because they have more talent than you. It's because, I seriously don't think you're called to do this. And no one's ever even had that conversation with me. This is a guy that gets paid to pump out incredible percussion band director guys, and he looks me square in the eyes in that percussion room, and I thank God for this dude. He said, listen, you're really sucking it up, and it's not because you're bad at drums. It's because I don't see any desire in you to really pursue this. And for whatever reason, in my thick head, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to pursue music at a university. And I never really felt like it was even an option to honestly think about deviating from the plan. I don't know why. I always felt like, here you go, Simon, this is your plan. You are supposed to be a music percussion guy. And for the first time in my life, not on drugs, healthy and spiritually growing, I was like, maybe this just really isn't for me. So the third time I quit music school, and thank God it stuck, right? The third time was a charm for me. It took me 3 tries to quit something that I was never supposed to pursue. And let me wrap this up with a story. So I had quit music school. I actually did graduate with a degree in organizational communication, because I was like, what do I actually feel like I want to do with my life? And then I'm like, is there a degree that can help me with this? And they're like, yeah. And so I just did it, and I graduated. It was awesome. It was great. I loved everything I studied. Leadership, org life. It was awesome. Go figure, right? And so I'm on a big mission trip. I'm about to go spend a month in Mexico. I had connected with a bunch of pastors down there. I was going to come in as an evangelist and as a speaker with some leadership kind of stuff for Christian leaders. I was about to go spend a month in cities I've never been. It was going to be this ultimate adventure. And so I'm in the airport. Man, I'm prayed up. All my friends had laid hands on me. Like, I felt alive. There is something about being in your lane that just brings so much life and passion to you. So I'm like I'm floating around the airport. I'm just like so pumped. I'm about to go do the stuff that's really in my heart. And guess who I run into? Professor Lalo. And he in the BNA airport. I will never forget this. It was the most spiritual moment of my life. And we meet in the Starbucks in one of the terminals. And he's like, "Hey, bro, how you doing, man? Like, hope you're well. Like, now that you quit my program." And he's like, "What are you up to?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm actually on a trip. I'm going down to Mexico. I've got some stuff lined up." And he's like, "Stop." He's like, You're doing missionary stuff, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, didn't even say a word. Just gave me one of these. I was like, "Oh, come on. Am I a missionary right now? No, I'm not doing anything close to that." But for me, it was this awesome journey of stepping out of the script that I felt like it was given to me, and that was supposed to be how I live my life. And so, man, I just see so many young people. Maybe you're in college, maybe you're coming out of high school, maybe you're in your early 20s and you've spent 8 years in school and you still don't even know what you want to do with your life. I don't even know what I want to do with my life, I'm going to be all the way honest, but I feel like I'm getting clarity around it now. But I see so many people. Here's what I want to say, and I'm going to end it with this. So many people are living this script that their parents gave them, that their high school, counselors gave them, that their admission counselors, the college gave them, that their grandparents gave them, and they want to be good, they want to be a good person, and so they're just living their life with somebody else's roadmap. And my challenge to you is quit music school. Quit music school. Now, if you're called to music, I see people on my Facebook, they love it. They are band directors, they're happy, they're flourishing. So I'm glad they didn't quit music school. But my message that I feel like I'm really hearing it for the first time, and maybe I'm getting clarity around it as I say this into this camera today. Quit music school, even if it takes you 3 times. It took me 3 times to finally get off of this path that God never even intended for me. But my mind was so caught up in the opinion of people, and what are these people gonna think, and what if I turn my back on this path, and it was God trying to get me free. So man, it's all right if you don't know, but quit music school. See you back here tomorrow.